My name is Lilian Silva. I work as a postdoctoral fellow at Auburn University, and my presentation here today is entitled Forage Production and Nutritive Value of Alfalfa-bermudagrass Mixtures Managed under Contrasting Defoliation Strategies in the Southeast U.S. The development of newer alfalfa varieties that are tolerant to growing conditions and management strategies used in the Southeast region have allowed the adoption of alfalfa back into forage systems in the region. The incorporation of alfalfa into grass systems can increase forage production and nutritive value. Bermuda grass has similar soil fertility and drainage requirements to alfalfa, and its incorporation helps to decrease the reliance on chemical nitrogen fertilizer, which improves both sustainability and profitability of forage systems. In terms of establishment, alfalfa is planted into Bermuda grass systems on fall using 14 inches spacing rule. This spacing recommendation comes from previous work conducted at the University of Georgia, where they evaluated contrasting spacing and spacing strategies and determined the effects on forage production and Bermuda grass persistence. On the year of establishment, the first harvest event must be done when alfalfa blooming is close to 25%, to allow for alfalfa to accumulate storage reserves that will contribute towards its persistence. Then, the next harvest should be performed when alfalfa is at approximately 10% blooming to optimize forage production and quality of forage. Both species in the mixture have high soil fertility requirements, and it's crucial to properly replenish it to support forage production and stand persistence. Rate of potassium must be within recommended, and it's ideal to split apply it. Micronutrients are essential, especially boron and molybdenum, once they support nitrogen fixation by alfalfa. This is a year-round system in the Southeast region since the species have complementary growth. However, alfalfa will slow down its growth in cooler months of the year, and Bermuda grass will remain dormant from around December through March, usually. In terms of harvest management, the recommended stubble height is 10 centimeters. Then under grazing, rotational management is recommended to allow alfalfa to restore energy reserves and persist over time. In our ongoing study, we are using a 28-day interval and adjusting stocking rates every 7 days. This system is also conducive to hay or silage production, and harvest should occur every 25 to 35 days, and moisture at baling should be between 40 and 60% for silage production, and for hay production, the moisture should be between 15 and 18%. This study was conducted in 2 locations, Headland, Alabama, and Tifton, Georgia, and alfalfa was interseeded into well-established Bermuda grass pastures back in October 2019. The first year of sampling, it started in June last year, 2020. And in this study, we're evaluating 3 management strategies: harvesting the area for hay or silage production, managing under grazing management, or under a dual purpose, which is cutting or grazing depending on the time of the year. The reason for use of this management, the dual purpose management, is that usually there is a dry period in summer that's called summer slump in the region, and during that time we can let the forages grow. To cut in late August and stockpile the material for grazing later on it, and through this extending the grazing season further each year. For our treatments, we are using 224 kilos of potassium, which is around 20 pounds of potassium per year, per acre, split in three applications throughout the growing season. In terms of the response variables that we are measuring forage mass through a technique called double sampling, which is a method that involves a destructive sampling, which is just going there and cutting the sample. And associated with these destructive measures, we are also using the rising disk meter, which is just equipment that records a high that takes in consideration the mass that's in the area, not just the actual canopy height. And these estimates for forage mass are taken on both pre and post graze conditions. For hay treatment, the weight of bales is registered at baling at each cut. Then samples collected at pre-harvest are separated for botanical composition determination. Then individual components are dried until constant weight and weight. Later, these samples are ground to pass a 1 millimeter screen and have their crude protein as detergent fiber and neutral detergent fiber concentrations determined using NRRS. We are also determining average daily gain for animals grazing these treatments and using put intake to maintain a specific forage allowance for them. In terms of forage mass, we observed a range between 1,500 to 1,700 kilos per hectare of forage mass from June through August. And on this graph, we see the distribution for each location per each treatment. And the DP is a dual purpose treatment. Then we have the hay and the grazing treatments. We observed greater forage mass in July and August than June for treatments, which was associated with greater Chieftain 85, greater Bermudagrass proportion in this mixture. And there was a 6% reduction in forage mass at Georgia's location than the Alabama's location in July and August due to a limited rainfall they observed during this period last year. They had approximately half of the historical average for rainfall last year. Then in terms of the botanical composition that we were seeing in the mixture, the average percentage of alfalfa was 7% greater under hay than grazing treatment, while the dual purpose treatment did not differ between them. On the bottom table, we have both locations and the percentage of each component in the mixture through from June through August. And on both locations, the percentage of alfalfa decreased over time, while the opposite was observed for Bermudagrass, which was expected because of the temperature that it's warming up through that period. And also associated with the peak of production for Chieftain 85 Bermudagrass, that's expected to be between late June, July through August for this region, and which also contributed for greater forage mass observed in July and August, as we just mentioned on the previous slide. Then in terms of forage quality, crude protein concentration ranges from 15 to 20%, and NEGF concentration ranges from 43 to 62%. RFQ ranged from 80 to 170, and within treatments, RFQ values decreased from June through to August, associated with changes in proportion of individual components within this mixture. Then in terms of animal performance, grazing these paddocks, average daily gain was around a pound throughout the whole year last year. But around this period of time, we had around 2 pounds of gain for this period. This difference in gain throughout the months was a reflection of the changes in botanical composition and forage quality observing the mixture over time. And here we have the gain for animals grazing the dual purpose study and for the grazing treatment. And on the Alabama side, in late July and August, we had heat index over 104 Fahrenheit, which contributed to loss of weight in most animals and to a gain per day equals 0, or even some animals losing weight during that period of time. So just a brief summary of this overview of the alfalfa-bermudagrass research. Greater forage mass was associated with peak of production of Chieftain 85 during the season, and increased Chieftain 85 proportion reflected in decrease on nutritive value responses. Then however, this mixture was still able to sustain a good animal performance throughout the time that the animals were grazing there, and they for this specific period of time they gain around a kilo or 2 pounds per day in weight. And we expect the future efforts for this line of research to continue to address management strategies and provide research-based educational resource efforts and resources to help producers to make educated decisions in their forage systems. With that, I would like to acknowledge our USDA NIFA grant awards, and which have been the reason we are able to continue to conduct this research and extension activities. And I would like to extend an invitation for you to join us on the Alfalfa in the South workshop at the Chieftain campus in Georgia on September 16th this year. And please send me an email on the email here on the screen if you have any questions or would you like any follow-up in this topic of research. I appreciate your time watching this presentation. Thank you so much, and see you on the next video.